Solana outperformed pretty much every other blue chip from the bottom, but right now it's starting to show signs of weakness. Is this a sign that further downside is to come, or is it an opportunity for you to buy the dip? It is my belief. I think that in this cycle, Solana is easily going to touch $1,000, if not even break higher. So in this video, guys, I'm going to explain to you why I think that is. And depending on your risk appetite, I'm going to show you the things that are the beta plays or the plays on Solana that I think are going to pump even harder. This is yet another video in my series of the 2024 top ecosystem layer ones, or in the case of the video I'll be doing soon, which is Ethereum layer 2 and 3 ecosystem. And today we're going to be talking about Solana and my top picks for that ecosystem. All right, guys, let's get into it. So that might sound crazy to you guys, but to a lot of you, probably not. And you can see here that we have the chart for Solana, and locally, this bull run here that we're in right now, we can see that it topped out over here above $200, and we're sitting at about 140 right now. But let's get into it and look at kind of Solana activity. You can see that currently right now, it is a very, very active chain. We should all know that. There is a bunch of tokens being minted on Solana every single day, and there is 1.6 million daily active addresses happening on Solana every day. That is pretty dang good as far as adoption. The only one beating it is Near, which is quite surprising, but I like Iliad, I like Near, so hopefully that's a good sign of things to come. Maybe let me know in the comments below if you guys would like us to do a Near video. I think it's got a good narrative, AI and everything like that. Iliad was part of Deep Brain for Google doing AI. So anyway, let's get back into Solana. And Edgar says, holy S, good morning. An app, Solana app, mind you, at the top of the 24th revenue chart that includes base layers. This is the real flippening. Now, it doesn't have a token, right? So like, not really interesting, but the reason I showed this slide wasn't to show you about pump.fun. I'm showing you that this ecosystem, being able to produce tokens on pump.fun and put them on Solana, it shows you just how many people are actually using it, which is actually insane. And you can see that also in the ecosystem, Radium, which is the #1 DEX on Solana, is doing close to that, not quite there yet, but approaching here up here on the fees generated by Ethereum protocol itself. So the #1 DEX on Solana is producing, it's getting close. #3 in revenue generating protocols in the entire ecosystem. And as you can see, VanEck files for Solana ETF with CBOE. Now, before you guys get all excited and giddy that like the Solana ETF is happening, I think it's going to be a little while. I'm not going to get excited until BlackRock files theirs. And then I think that it's time but it's coming. It is coming. But it's not coming, in my opinion, anytime very, very soon. I believe that futures ETF has to start trading first in order for it to be the easier path to the spot ETF being approved. And again, I'll be excited. But would you rather have your position in Solana now before BlackRock announces that it files for a spot ETF, or would you want to buy in after BlackRock announces that they're going for it? Because at that point, you miss the mega giga pump. And as Eric Balkunas from Bloomberg Intelligence says over here, looks like Solana ETFs are going to have a final deadline of mid-March 2025. So you can see, likely if Gensler's still in office, we're probably pushing into mid-March 2025 for this. So we're looking at like another 3/4 of a year, more or less, before this thing is approved. But we do have positive, bullish momentum with the SEC kind of losing their position as the ability to regulate over crypto. Now, of course, a lot of this will depend on how the US elections goes, as we saw in the Binance case versus the SEC over here, where they court filed and said that the BNB sales tokens are not securities. The ruling includes crypto are not securities. Binance USD is not a security. I wonder if they're going to bring BOC back. And BNB sales on secondary exchanges are not securities. Massive win. Okay, let's go now over here. Marty Party says, breaking. Market maker GSR releases their Solana ETF thesis. They expect a 9x appreciation on ETF approval. Pretty damn bullish on ETF approval. And if the ETF is approved, if that's true, just think about this for a second, that far outseeds the conservative, essentially 6-7x of that $1,000 price point. So I believe that $1,000 is actually relatively conservative coming into this bull run. Imagine if it does a 9x from here on the ETH approval, and it's only, let's say March of 2025. And if our timelines that we're thinking for the market line up, and we really have until September, October, November of 2025, and the biggest and craziest and most parabolic parts of bull markets happen in the final few months, we could even be seeing a 20 or 30x. I know that sounds crazy, from here, but it's not that crazy considering all things. Remember, we like to follow narratives, right? And so people like narratives. We like to be excited about something, and we like to bet and speculate on that thing happening versus the actual event happening and nothing to look forward to. This is why that when we see a lot of meme coins and other projects that get a lot of traction, everyone gets really excited running up when Binance. After Binance launches the token, then you see a big pullback and you see that token kind of die for a while and get boring. And then eventually when it kind of bottoms out, people start buying it again, right? Because you got tons of liquidity on something and big traders can come in and trade it. So I expect, we want to look at narratives right now, right? Because still today in 2024, we don't have massive mainstream adoption of applications yet, or dApps, I should say, right? And those are what's really going to send these layer ones to Valhalla when we start having big, massive adoption. So for now, we speculate and we play on narratives. And as Alon says over here, the quant just sent me this chart. Bears are not ready for what's about to unfold. Disbelief. And as you can see here, this is the last time that we had this giga pump on SOL. And this was in the 2021 bull run. And he's saying that it looks quite familiar. And of course it is, because this is also post-halving. And this is also to like the similar to the 2025 timeline that we're expecting. Like this is all very familiar, right? And if this holds true, we can expect to see this go much, much, much higher.
Oh, you gotta give him that hawk and spit on that thing.
And there we go. Okay, so now we have, speaking of narratives, right? We've got this narrative Firedancer. Firedancer is supposed to send Solana into 1 million TPS. Now, if we have a blockchain with 1 million TPS, it can facilitate anything, all transactions, all social media, everything that we need to do. And that's going to be like one blockchain. And I think that to kind of rule them all. And I think that Solana has a good chance of being that kind of retail-facing, cheap, fast blockchain that is just used by masses for a lot of cheap transactions. Whereas Ethereum is going to be the more institutional, buttoned up, slower, more secure, less centralized blockchain. And that's just a matter of fact. We should just accept that different blockchains, different ecosystems have different narratives. But what they are saying is Solana will bring more security and it'll make it more feasible for institutions to chew on. However, if that does end up happening, in my opinion, that's not going to happen until next bull market in 2029, basically. So we'll see how that comes along. But you can see here that right now, when it comes to data throughput, how much data on-chain transactions, on-chain processing can happen, not off-chain computation, but on-chain computation. Right now, Solana is doing 125 megabits per second, which is still the fastest blockchain out there. But with Firedancer, it improves that by 10x, which puts it dramatically above, even 10, 12x above even things like newest generation blockchains, which are Sui and Aptos, for example, which is crazy. However, we have to be aware that Firedancer is so speculative right now. They still have another year of work to go or something before they roll that out, at least 9 months or something, maybe at the soonest 6, but that's assuming that all the dev goes as expected between here and there, and it almost never does. So, but again, we're betting on narrative. So everyone's like, wow, this is going to be like, so right now we can guess and everyone can go around on crypto Twitter and say, yeah, it's going to do 1 million transactions per second. Yeah, it's going to be the best. It's going to be made for institutions. It's going to be so secure. And we can believe as a speculator that that's going to actually happen. Now, what happens if it actually launches and falls on its face and transactions get stuck and it doesn't work? Then it's going to be very bearish. So I would actually, from a speculator perspective, I would rather see Firedancer. Let's just say this: I'm in no hurry to see it, as long as that narrative is still dangling in front of our face. That Solana is going to be the global fastest, cheapest, retail-facing kind of blockchain. Now, some other interesting things happening over here on Solana is this thing's called Blinks. Now, as you can see from the video playing here, Blinks are blockchain links, where basically on X, on my website, I can do anything. I can post a link and it embeds an action or something that can happen on my website, on X, on my blog post, whatever. And it could do a call to action. It could say, hey, I want to go donate to a dog shelter. Do you want to donate 1 SOL, 5 SOL, 20 SOL, or custom? Hey, we have this governance proposal over here in Commonwealth. All the Commonwealth isn't on SOL now. Maybe it's coming in the future. Do you want to vote on this proposal? Yes or no? And every time that you click a button, as you can see in the video here, it can open up your wallet and sign a transaction easily on anywhere. So you don't kind of have to go to, if you want to buy an NFT, for example, you could just have, if I'm selling you an NFT, I could just have it embedded on my X account. And you can buy an NFT directly from X versus having to go to Magic Eden or something like that, for example. So this is really great. It's going to provide a lot of ability for people to be in their browser, open any type of Web2 application and do a blockchain action. Very, very bullish. I'm always excited to see things that are going to help mainstream adoption. Now, you can see this talks a little bit more about the different types of things that you can do over here with Blinks, but these are kind of the things I just told you about, right? And more, even more examples than it shows here. Now, pump.fun, if you're listening to me, if you make a token and you roll this revenue back in the token, it'll be absolutely huge. And maybe they're going to do that, right? We'll see. And if they do, it'll be one of the biggest market caps in the space if they do it right. If you're listening, pump.fun, make sure that you roll all that revenue back into the token and you're going to do extremely well. So my researchers pulled this slide up and I want to bring your attention to something. Now, what they're saying here in this slide, of course, it's biased from Solana Floor. They're telling you that, look, all the Solana meme coins, the most popular ones, did much better than all the Ethereum meme coins. And while that's typically true, the fact is, I don't think this is very fair because it's saying of H1, but most of these Solana coins launch later than most of these Ethereum coins. And so it's way easier to go from a $30,000 market cap to 100 million and say we did all these X's than to go from 100 million to a billion, for example, right? And so I don't think this is very accurate. And so I just wanted to share this with you guys because while there was meant to be a slide showing you that Solana meme coins have outperformed vastly Ethereum meme coins, I also want to bring your attention that I don't think it's a fair slide with fair representation. This is when I talked about WIF back in the day. On your radar, this is called WIF. It's called Dog with a Hat. Dog with a Hat. And the website isn't on here right now, so look at that, 34 million is when I brought it to you guys' attention, and it went to over 5 billion, and it's now kind of doing what these tokens tend to do. But do I think this is done? No, I think this is an amazing, personally, I think it's an amazing opportunity to buy in here, right? This thing seems to kind of double bottom. Maybe it's going to accumulate for a little while we continue to stay range bound and move sideways. But when the market deterministically breaks up, and we see it, I think this thing's going to go to Valhalla. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think that the target for me, and we'll see, but I think my target for WIF is somewhere between 40 and $100 billion in this bull market. So we still have another 30 to 80 or so X to on WIF. And we've already been, we already called over 100X on this thing. So congratulations everyone on this channel who got in there with me. Now, Unicity Art over here is making an assumption or comparison of WIF to and PopCat. So you can see this is WIF kind of taking up now, or exploding up. Now you can see the interesting thing here, what they painted is that the higher lows, bam, low, higher low, explosion. Now, if we go over here and look at the PopCat chart, what do we see? Low, higher low over here, boom, explosion. Is it gonna explode before the market decisively turns upwards? No. But when it does, PopCat is probably going to be one of the leading cat coins in the crypto ecosystem. I've just seen tons and tons of strength to this. We've talked about this in the very early days. I think it was over here. Remember, if you guys have been watching the channel for a while, I literally bought it like over here and like an idiot sold it over here. So dumb, so dumb. One of the biggest fumbles of this entire bull run. Anyway, moving on. And that goes to say that I'm still very bullish on here. And I still think at a $447 million FDV, you still have to go, if this goes to, because basically guys, I think that this bull run is going to be bigger than the last one. So I think we can see higher things. And if the last bull run, the top two meme coins were SHIB and Doge, where SHIB got to 40 billion and Doge went to 90 billion, I think that those two, SHIB and Doge, will even go higher than they did last time. And I think that the newer meme coins will also kind of hit that 40 to 90 billion mark. And the newer super blue chips, this is a Solana video, but overall, right? The Pepes, the WIFs, the Bretts, these guys, I think they're going to potentially even outpace that and go to, 100 billion plus potentially. So yeah, very bullish on PopCat. Now we have Ponky over here. Now Ponky, this guy goes out 10 reasons why he's bullish on Ponky. And there are a lot of reasons. It's different than, it's not a cat, it's not a dog, you got a monkey over here. But more importantly, there's just a lot of traction and community over here, right? And you see this starting to form here, this higher low over here. And I wouldn't be surprised if this comes back down a little bit and forms another higher low. and then goes sideways for a little while until we see this thing decisively break up. To me, this is definitely, it's been around for a while, right? This thing has been out for 6 months already, hasn't rugged, it's got good distribution, secure smart contracts, and the community is very, very strong around Ponky. This is one that I haven't made an entrance into yet, but I'm probably going to do that now. Again, this is all about positioning and where we see strength going to be. And now that we had all this kind of PvP meme coin stuff happen, for me, I'm likely, now everything that I've kind of bet on before, I'll probably sell 80% of those bags and put it into the things that I'm talking about in this series, right? I want to reallocate, consolidate into the more bullish things and just bet on those. I don't have the capacity, time to hope that these tiny little meme coins, that were kind of more pump and dumpy, they might come back, but I don't want to sell my entire bag because I don't want to pull another pop cat again. Now, I talked about Billy the other day. Let's listen to this. And Billy, so I didn't mention this before, but I did buy it back here, and I just wasn't confident yet in telling you guys about it. But I've been monitoring it ever since, and it seems to be, doing extremely well. You can see that it's got high community sentiment, not a lot. That was 94, but you can see also if we zoom in here, where did I buy it? I bought it on this red candle over here, and I don't have the chart pulled up, but you can see I bought it somewhere probably around 33, 35 million, but shared it with you guys at 94. Where's it sitting now? It's sitting at 141, and as you can see over here, I'll jump back to this in a minute, but I've started to exit my, I'm basically exiting on my RNT, not everything. Again, I'm not going to do that lesson where I still think the RNT community is pretty bullish. Like, they are working hard over there. However, you can see over here, I DCA'd, yes, let's see, what is it? I don't know, recently, like yesterday, day before, some RNT into Billy, and just now today, more RNT into Billy because I'm very bullish on Billy. Okay, let's get back into it over here so we can ponke Billy. And as our art check says, Billy is the first meme to go to 100 million since Mitchie 2 months ago. Since Mitchie cracked 100 million in late April, there have been 34 million coins created. So your chance of picking a low cap winner is 1 in 34 million. I only want to focus on the coins that are going to go to 100 million plus, that are going to go to a billion plus. I don't even want to focus on the other ones, the ones that I think I'm not in this game to get out of things. I want to find the things that become sustainable, long-term, meme coins or regular projects, like good projects, protocol pump player type of projects that exist, right? I don't want to, I'm done. I'm so sick of a PvP environment. It's not healthy for the space. It's not healthy for me, not healthy for you. And let's focus on reshifting energy to things that are going to be around for a while. So if it's not 100 million, if it's not a billion, then I'm not interested. And Bonk, guys, I told you also about Bonk really, really early. Let's listen to this over here. All right, guys. Now Bonk, I've mentioned it before. You can see right now that it's a $192 million valuation. Shoot, 207. I still haven't bought it yet, but okay. So I'm going to after I make. And I did after that video, 207. And what did it do? It ran all the way up to 4.2 billion, right? So it went from 200 million to 4.2 billion, is a 20x, and it's now starting to show nice, solid strength again. And I think that it might have bottomed. Remember, what did I say before? You have a Binance listing, it sells off, and because it's now got tons of liquidity, it's kind of, when you kind of get on Binance, you're kind of considered a blue chip at that point to some degree. And it's got $2.36 billion in FDV. And I believe it's starting to come back and show a lot of signs of strength again. Now, you can see here that in the last 7 days, when it comes down to meme coins over here, Bonk is up 13% when everything else, except for MOG, and MOG is another one, but we'll get into that Ethereum in a bit. But when everything else is quite red, except for these smaller ones, and Pay, I call that for you, but again, this is a Solana video. But when it comes down to most of the meme coins on the 7 day, they're quite red, and Bonk is up 14% nearly. And why is that? Well, that's because Bonk bought, because Bonk is now it's not just a meme anymore, it's a PPP, it's a protocol pump player environment, right? And if you guys haven't seen my blog post on that, make sure that you go read that. I'll put it in the description below, but just go to my X account, right? And it's pinned there. It's a really great post to read to show you what I'm going to be focusing on. Anything that is, starts with a great community. Here it's pinned on my profile, protocol pump player. And I think it's just a really important thing to try to comprehend and understand. So what does that mean? That means that right now that you've got Bonk bot, which is actually generating a tremendous amount of revenue, and it's putting that all back into the token economy. This is exactly what we should be doing. We should be looking for strong communities that are generating revenue, and that revenue is going back into supporting the token price. It's quite obvious. And you can see that Bonk is essentially a leveraged play on Solana. When Solana goes up, Bonk goes up even harder. When Solana goes down, Bonk goes down even harder. So if you're bullish on Solana, then you should be bullish on Bonk. And if you think Solana is going to go up 20x, then Bonk's probably going to go up 50x. Just the way that it is. I don't make the rules. I just play by them. And of course, another thing that we're very bullish on here is Jupiter. I love Jupiter. You know, Meow made that post on Player, Pump Player, and I elaborated on Protocol Pump Player. And Meow is a founder of Jupiter. I like what he's doing. I think he's very, very, very smart over there. Jupiter's an incredible team. It's one of the things, and as you saw, I was using it earlier, the DCA function. I love what Jupiter's doing. They're building something called Ape, which allows you to kind of ape in quicker to different types of meme coins. They're always improving things. V3 is launching, which is instant routing, dynamic slippage, smart token search, which is, I think, the Ape thing, ecosystem master list, and many, many more bullish things. Jupiter's always it's probably one of my favorite tokens in the space when it comes down to innovation, creativity, like doing things the right way, in my opinion. And as you can see right now, we've got a nice pullback at about 62% from the top. The top was actually 5 months ago in this cycle. It wasn't a 2021 top. It was in this. So you have a nice 62% pullback from the top, and we haven't even gotten into very bullish markets yet, right? So I expect this thing to go much, much higher. And now IONET is another one that we talked about before, something that I personally invested into. And I think that when you look at things, you know, when the other kind of DePIN projects, DePIN is decentralized physical infrastructure. When you look at the market cap for things like Render, which is kind of a competitor, 2.5 billion, Filecoin, 2.2 billion, you know, Arweave. Now, these aren't all on Solana, but they are things that are in DePIN, you know, network. Now you come down and you look for IONET, and AO is another one, but again, we're not talking about, you know, we're talking about Solana today. You come down, where is IONET? 225, right? And when you look at the cap table, so 225 versus essentially a 10x above that is Render. So, and this is again, and even Render's pulled back a lot, right? Let's go check out Render's. I think it's, you know, with the kind of cap table that they have and the improvements that they've been making over IONET above what Render is doing. And if we look at something like market cap, we go to max and we look back and see that it went to 5 billion from 225. Now, of course, the FDV is higher, but you have things that you essentially don't have private sale investors. And the last round was valued at $1 billion, which investors invested into, and it's sitting at a 1.9 right now, which is less than a 2x away from what investors paid in the last round. And you're not locked. You don't have this 12-month cliff like investors do. In fact, investors don't get their first unlock until essentially another almost a year, 11 months from now, was when investors start to get their tokens unlocked, and probably the team as well, the initial core contributors. So you have this period of time, at least for the next half of a year, 6 months, until any tokens start inflating in the ecosystem. So I would be very, very aware about what's happening. And in fact, what I would be doing right now personally, if I wanted to make a play on DePIN, because it's always good to diversify, what I would be doing probably is I would be looking at IONET right now. I think it's a really decent valuation at $225 million for market cap. And that's all that you're going to care about, right? Because maybe you look to start taking some profits before those unlocks happen. And then something like Koi, since we're talking about Solana, Koi essentially is a fork of Solana that is running, that's 86,000 nodes running right now. You can go run a node right now. Go get the node, learn how to do this. It takes like 5 minutes, run your own node and be eligible for the airdrop that's happening. And Koi is a fork of Solana built specifically around DePIN. So if you're bullish on DePIN applications, then you should be bullish on something that's forked Solana, going to be backward compatible with all Solana innovations like Firedancer and whatnot, but built specifically for DePIN and AI. Really, really bullish on Koi. If you haven't run yourself a node yet, make sure you guys go do that and be eligible for the airdrop, and look for some exciting announcements that we are going to be doing with Koi as well. All right, guys, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And if you like this video, this is, again, one of the videos in the series of the best ecosystems in crypto for this upcoming bull run and the alpha plays within them. Make sure you go back to the playlist or click this video to watch another one. I'll catch you guys on the next ecosystem video. See you later. Bye-bye.